For nearly 60 years, one relationship anchored the most dazzling career in American music history. When that anchor was gone, Dolly Parton did something she rarely did in public. She let the world see her struggle to simply relearn her own daily life. On 25th August 2026, Dolly Parton died peacefully at her home in Nashville at the age of 80. This is the story of an extraordinary 6-decade career, a private grief that quietly shaped her final 18 months, and a legacy of warmth that reached far beyond music. Dolly Rebecca Parton was born on 19th January 1946 in Sevier County, Tennessee, one of 12 children raised in a one-room cabin in genuine poverty. That hardscrabble childhood would go on to directly inspire some of her most enduring songwriting, including Coat of Many Colors and Tennessee Homesick Blues. The day after graduating from Sevier County High School in 1964, Parton headed straight for Nashville. She began by writing songs for other performers, sometimes alongside her uncle Bill Owens, before releasing her own debut record, Hello, I'm Dolly, 3 years later. That record caught the attention of country star Porter Wagoner, and Parton became a regular fixture on his television program, the beginning of her rise to national prominence. What set Parton apart, according to those who studied her closely, was an instantly recognizable vocal instrument. Berklee College of Music professor Catherine Dacey once described her as possessing one of the most distinctive voices in American pop music, noting that her high soprano, combined with a fast vibrato and a genuine vocal twang, gave her sound a character no imitator could quite replicate. That voice carried dozens of top 10 country hits over the decades. Alongside some of the most enduring songs ever written in American popular music, Jolene, 9 to 5, Coat of Many Colors, and I Will Always Love You, a song originally written for Porter Wagoner that would later become a global phenomenon in Whitney Houston's hands. Altogether, Parton's songwriting catalogue totaled more than 100 million worldwide sales and over 1 billion online streams. Parton always insisted she wasn't leaving her country roots behind as she crossed into pop stardom and Hollywood filmmaking in the late 1970s and early 1980s. She was simply bringing them along with her. Parton's cultural impact reached well beyond record sales. She starred in beloved films including 9 to 5 and opened Dollywood, her theme park in East Tennessee, which became a major economic driver for the entire Appalachian region, drawing tourists from across the country. Her generosity became just as central to her legacy as her music. When wildfires devastated the Smoky Mountains in 2016, Parton organized an all-star telethon and established a foundation that sent monthly financial support to residents whose homes had been damaged or destroyed. Her Imagination Library program, meanwhile, quietly gave away millions of free books to children around the world, a project she remained deeply proud of throughout her life. Her honors accumulated accordingly: induction into the Country Music Hall of Fame, a Lifetime Achievement Award from the Recording Academy, induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2022. And in 2025, the Jean Hersholt Humanitarian Award from the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences. Away from the stage, Parton's most enduring relationship was her nearly 60-year marriage to Carl Dean, a man who, despite his wife's global fame, remained almost entirely out of the public eye by choice. The couple met when Parton was just 18 years old and married in 1966. Building a private life together even as Dolly's public profile grew into one of the most recognizable in the world. Carl Dean died on 3rd March 2025 at the age of 82 after 58 years of marriage. Days after announcing his death, Parton released If You Hadn't Been There, a heartfelt tribute song accompanied by an old photo of the couple. In her caption, she wrote that she had fallen in love with Carl Dean when she was 18 years old and that they'd spent 60 precious and meaningful years together. Great love stories, she wrote, never truly end. They live on in memory and song. She dedicated the song to him, calling him the star of her life's story. Just under 2 weeks after Dean's death, Parton made her first public appearance, helping kick off Dollywood's 40th anniversary celebrations. It was there, she later admitted, that grief caught up with her unexpectedly. Watching a young boy's pure delight at seeing her in the parade, she found herself overwhelmed, retreating to her van afterwards simply to cry, undone by the sheer amount of love in the air on a day she was still so raw with loss. In May 2025, appearing remotely on Today, Parton spoke with unusual candour about what daily life without her husband of 6 decades actually looked like. She admitted she still became very emotional whenever people brought up his death, explaining that she'd loved Carl since she was 18 years old and that adjusting to life without him was proving to be exactly that. A big adjustment. Simply trying to change patterns and habits built up over 60 years together. She reassured fans she'd be fine, crediting her deep involvement in her work as the best possible thing that could have happened to her during that period. But she was equally clear that the loss itself would never fully fade. She would always miss him, she said, and she would always love him, he had been. In her words, a great partner to her. As 2025 wore on, Parton became increasingly open about how deeply that grief had affected her physically, not just emotionally. Speaking at Dollywood's 2026 season kickoff in March, she admitted to fans that she'd felt worn down and worn out while grieving Carl, acknowledging a few ongoing health issues she and her team were, in her words, taking good care of. That September, she'd already postponed an upcoming Las Vegas residency, originally scheduled for December 2025, pushing the shows back to September 2026 as she worked through her health concerns. A month later, she addressed the growing public speculation directly and with characteristic humour, captioning a social media post simply, "I ain't dead yet." By May 2026, Parton offered a more direct explanation for what had been happening. She explained that while she'd been focused entirely on caring for Carl during his illness and for a period afterward while grieving, she simply hadn't paid proper attention to her own health issues she'd effectively let go unaddressed during that time. She joked, in typical Dolly fashion, that doctors were pulling more kidney stones out of her in a year than the rock quarry back home in Rockwood, Tennessee, adding more seriously that her immune and digestive systems had become significantly out of balance over the preceding 2 to 3 years, and that her medical team was working hard to help her rebuild and strengthen them. Just days before her death, Parton acknowledged publicly that she'd lost a step since Carl's passing, but insisted firmly to People magazine that she wasn't ready to leave the stage, even as she continued healing. Despite her health struggles, Parton remained remarkably active in her final months. In July and August 2026, she was closely involved in the pre-Broadway run of Dolly, an original musical at Belmont University's Fisher Center in Nashville, with expectations the show might eventually open in New York. She also participated in Dolly Parton's Threads, My Songs in Symphony, a touring concert pairing her songs with local orchestras, appearing on screen for the production's world premiere in Nashville that March. A separate stage adaptation, Dolly, a true original musical, had been set to open in December 2026, a project she wouldn't live to see debut. According to reports, Parton was admitted to Vanderbilt University Medical Center in Nashville early on Friday morning with kidney and autoimmune complications. She died at the hospital that same morning, on Tuesday, 25th August 2026. Her family confirmed her death through a statement from her nephew, Brian Seaver, posted to her official Instagram and Facebook accounts. The statement said simply that Parton had died peacefully at her home in Nashville and that a small private service would be held for close family. No official cause of death was disclosed publicly. Seaver closed his video statement with words that captured the warmth Parton had extended to fans for decades. Rest in peace, Aunt Dolly, Aunt, Granny, Gigi, asking that God bless Dolly Parton and bless everyone watching, adding simply that she would always love them all. Dolly Parton's family described her life in their official obituary as a rhinestone life that shone bright enough for the world to see. An inspiration not only through her timeless music and prolific songwriting, but through her wit, her warmth, and a kindness that made millions of strangers feel like family. In her final 18 months, Parton showed the world something rarer than any hit song. What it genuinely looks like to grieve in public, to admit that even the most resilient among us sometimes let our own well-being slip while caring for someone we love, and to keep working, keep creating, and keep showing up for others anyway. She never fully finished adjusting to life without Carl Dean. Perhaps that's simply what 60 years of real love looks like from the other side. If this tribute moved you, share your favourite Dolly Parton song or memory in the comments, and subscribe for more heartfelt stories from the world of music.